Hello, my name is Todd Doleshal here with Elevator Retirement Solutions. Excited to do a recap video of our fourth Wealth Accelerator series here today. Going to be talking through what the trade tariffs mean, what the deficit is, the big beautiful bill, as well as most excitedly introduce my new team member, Rhea Murphy. So with that, I'm going to really excited to welcome Rhea. She's taking the place Victor Gonzalez, who used to work with my practice, has just done a phenomenal job right out the gate here. And I'll let her take a second to introduce herself and welcome herself to the team.
Hello, my name is Rhea Murphy. I am from Charlotte, North Carolina, currently residing in Katy, Texas. I started my journey here at LPL in 2022. Since then, I've been able to gain knowledge and skills to be able to assist advisors and colleagues like Todd in being able to successfully help clients in any way, in any form. Um, I am available anyway as far as phone, email. Feel free to reach out. I am here for you, and I always give my saying here at LPL, one team, one mission. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhea. You're doing a fantastic job, and already clients are raving about how great it was to work with you. So, and I know you've got to hop off for the next session here that you have to do. So, thank you for everything.
Thank you, Todd. I look forward to having more success.
Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is the U.S. deficit and the debt, why it matters, and what the impacts are of the rising national deficit that just continues to grow for us, unfortunately, at almost an exponential rate here. And then we're going to break down a lot of misinformation that's out there as relates to where does our tax money go, right? And how do we source that? So starting out, really, I want to reframe this and think about the federal government as really like an insurance company, right? And I know insurance companies haven't exactly gotten the best PR, especially of late, but really they're a symptom of the problem more often than not the problem, right? So the United States government collects revenue from us in the form of income taxes, so on and so forth. That's the premiums that we pay. And then we get benefits in the form of Social Security, having, our borders protected, quote unquote, with defense, so on and so forth. Debatable, of course, about, the merits of all those different programs, but that's basically how it works. They collect premiums and then they pay out benefits. Unfortunately, there's been a major deficit between the two. So the United States government, it's been no secret, has been in a deficit for many, many, many decades. And in fact, they were talking about this even during the Carter administration back in the 70s, how much of a problem this was. And unfortunately, this can just continues to get kicked down the road. And the last time that we actually had a federal government surplus was during the Clinton era in the 90s. So it's been more than a day, unfortunately. So what does this mean to us? This means that a lot of programs that many Americans rely upon for safety nets and Social Security, literally Medicare, Medicaid, subsidized health insurance, so on and so forth, most of those programs now are at risk of being fully funded. So what that means is most of us are going to have to pay more in taxes down the road. Corporations are having to shell out a lot more now for trade tariffs, which is just a tax that they pay, and that's eating into their profits and is hurting their profit margins. Thankfully, here in the United States, at least, most people have not really felt the full impact of trade tariffs yet. Corporations have front run their inventory to get ahead of it, as well as have just absorbed the cost of this as doing business. But that's only going to last for so long, right? Either those stocks are going to go down in value because now they're paying, say, 15% tariffs if they're trading with the EU or Japan, or they're going to pass those costs on to consumers. So either way, it's going to hit us in the wallet in the form of higher prices with inflation, or conversely, less corporate profits, meaning lower stock market returns, which is ideally what hopefully we should be living off of, right? So not a good situation. And as with anything, many things are subject to change. But now I'm going to break down exactly where the government deficit goes and what makes it up here. So on this PDF, This comes directly from the United States Treasury. It's a report they put together on a monthly basis here. So what you're looking at on the left-hand side is through the end of May, sources of revenue. The government has collected $3.48 trillion in revenue in the form of taxes. The biggest one comes from individual income taxes, 1.8 trillion, Social Security taxes and retirement, 1.16 trillion, so on and so forth here. Interestingly enough, corporate income taxes were only $298 billion. And the challenge with this argument is if you raise taxes on corporations and the wealthy, will those corporations and successful investors leave that country? And history has shown, yes, that's what's happening, actually, whether it's currently what's going on right now in London and other places around the world that have tried to raise taxes. The idea is, well, if we just raise it from 15 to 30% or whatever those numbers are, we're going to generate more revenue. But the math has shown is actually 15% of a lot is better than 30% of not very much, right? So that's the age-old question is what's that right balance there? And then in terms of where the money actually goes, you can see that we've so far have paid out $4.846 trillion in benefits, which is causing a deficit so far of almost $4 trillion here. The number one area where this goes is Social Security. We've already paid out $1 trillion in Social Security, $700 billion in Medicare, and then the net interest is unfortunately the third area here. And then defense and health are the next two here. So why this is a problem, currently we paid $665 billion in net interest. That's just interest to service our debt. That's money that's not going into helping veterans. It's not helping get businesses started, paying for Social Security benefits. And as our debt continues to grow, unfortunately, at over $36 trillion as I speak here and counting, this number, unfortunately, is going to continue to grow and will eventually become the highest expense and outlay that our government pays for. So why this is important, it's going to make programs such as Medicare a lot more expensive. There's talk right now of Part D prescription coverage, subsidies mostly going away next year, which is going to increase payments for many people and retirement that are already the most vulnerable. And of course, Social Security, that's always the hot potato where people just unfortunately have not addressed this issue here. So unfortunately, as the debt continues to grow, the thing that we are looking at here is that we can't rely upon social programs and the government to take care of us the way that we used to. So what's the best potential outcome? Save and invest more, right? The stock market historically has provided phenomenal returns. There's obviously lots of ways to save and invest, but more and more I would encourage individuals thinking about retirement planning investing to finance their own debt as we look at this in their own retirement instead of relying upon the government like they used to. So with that, I just want to say thank you everybody for attending today's session. And of course, if anybody has any questions, thoughts, concerns, other areas that they'd like me to touch on in the future, pass this video on to others.